Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
So let's start off this week's or this month's coffee chat. Before we start off, is every one of you appearing for May 24, or is there someone for September 24 as well? Just to get the context.
I'm appearing in May.
Okay.
Okay, we have Akanksha. I know. I think Karan is also. Oh, okay. This is Karan Sachdeva. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
September.
September. Okay. Okay. Now that we have asked this question, so maybe as a matter of priority to May 24 students, Sameer and Akanksha, first, do you want to just start off with any of your questions? And then perhaps Karan and Ghanshyam, we can take you in.
I guess I think yeah. All I have is to ask. I think I was practicing day three from like last 2 months, but suddenly I started practicing day three in Capstone too. I have noticed a very huge change in pattern. So like earlier, I was practicing for whatever material I had, like deaths more and all that stuff, like whatever I was able to gather. There, it was like if it's a 70-minute exam, there used to be 8 AOs, 7 AOs,
Yeah.
which were a different time management issues because they were like marked like 8 AOs.
Yeah.
Now what I'm facing is that Capstone 2 average they have 5 to 6 AOs. Like
Yeah.
it's if it's 85 minutes, 90 minutes is 6 AOs or 7 AOs. Otherwise, it's like 70 minutes, 5 AOs. But the problem is when
Yeah.
you read the question paper, it looks like there are 10 issues,
Yeah.
and then they end up clubbing four issues into one AO. So, I mean, that looks right when you read the feedback or debrief it later on. But when you're attempting it, you have absolutely no clue which one would be marked as a single AO, which one would be clubbed together with other issues. I mean, whatsoever it is. And what happens with me is that I end up attempting, suppose one FR issue, and I'll end up leaving two issues of FR. But sometimes what I've left is a single AO. What I've not attempted is a multiple combined with something else, and I feel like then I see that I've over attempted one. I
Yeah.
should have done the other one more. So
Yeah.
it's like becoming very difficult to assess that. I don't know if it is the
Yeah.
way that CPA works, or
Yeah.
did I practice something wrong?
So I can take this on. Then perhaps Guneet can add as well. So two to three aspects to your question. The first one is what you have been practicing until now does not directly match up with how the capstone material is. So see how things are is let me take you through capstone 2 first, or the CPA material. How the years have come across is 2015, 16, 17, 18, and I would say until 19. 2015 to 2019 period was something where you had very ambiguous AOs, and
Mhm.
so you were not able to complete the AOs on time, or maybe there were say 8 AOs in one exam, and the AOs were not very categorical in their sense and not very straightforward. So if
Mhm.
you would see the pattern in the last couple of years, 20, 21, 22, and 23, if you see there is a pattern that if now that we are talking about D3, there will be a pattern that in each exam you will have, say, 6 AOs averagely, and each uh, each of the 6 AOs would be hitting each of the 6 competencies. So that is the standard pattern that
Yes.
you should be seeing in the exam as well. So I think you should be thinking in your mind, okay, generally speaking,
Mm.
so say there are three day three exams, and so sorry, three exams in the day three. So averagely, you would be seeing six, or should I say, three questions for each of the competencies. Now,
Mm.
in our exam, as it happened was, I think in one of the papers, we received this three questions of tax in one paper only, rather and
Mm.
in the other and in the other day
Yes.
three cases we did not receive any tax question. So you can, as a standard benchmark, consider that you would receive averagely 6 AOs in each
Mm.
case, and basically 18 questions and spread out over competencies. But so there is no so these are the benchmarks I can say,
Yeah.
and this is how it has been flowing. Now, answering your question, how it is comparing to Densmore or any other institute, what they have is they have their own cases, and which are not linked directly to Capstone 2. Those are more for preparation purposes rather than you getting a hang of how the actual exam could be. And we are not very sure about Densmore, but other institutes like do not update that very often because you are still spreading the same set of information.
And also, it's better that candidates first practice with a little tougher cases so that when you actually practice Capstone 2 or actually write the exam, you feel that you've attempted worse cases, so you actually feel you're in a better place in terms of time management and also in terms of technicals. So yeah, that could be a case.
So not to worry, I think this is fine. And I would say because you have done slightly tougher versions, so this pattern relatively honestly it is getting easier year by year. If you would take up any case, I remember one case, Lake Country Club, that's from like 2017.
That's very bad.
If you would pick up those cases, so I personally used to avoid those cases because that is not the pattern today. So
especially even if you're practicing now, you can still do them. But when you're closer to the exam and you're actually revising, your cases and your takeaways, at that point, you can still like not pay that much attention to those cases which were way early in time.
Yeah. So try focusing on maybe 2019 onwards, which is like 4 years of cases that you have. That is something can come up. And generally, you should be able to complete 6 AOs/7 AOs in the allotted time. Just try to stick to the timelines, and you should be fine. Yeah.
But normally, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just telling, like it is slightly different. Like for example, I did a case today itself. Now, I'll tell you what was the issue in that. The issue was the first AO had a MA question which asked for quantitative, qualitative, and a strategy question inside it itself. That was one AO which was so long, like in terms of its ask. And when I did only quantitative, qualitative, because I was running out of time, it's hardly 7 to 8 minutes AO, right? I ended up getting an NC because the marking guide was saying like partial on all three, and I did not reach the third part at all. And then the second AO had accounting issues, which are 5 issues. Again, one AO 5 issues, and I was able to attempt only 2 of them, and again knocked off NC because they wanted minimum 3 partials or 4 partials. So that's the issue what I'm facing now.
That is
They're
fine.
like,
should not be a case. So this should not be a pattern. If at all, if this attempt is tough or challenging, I should say, there could be one case which offers you challenges. For us, it was the third. So in the last attempt, the third case was the most difficult one. So it is, one of the cases will be difficult, and it is difficult for everyone. So and everyone is assessed on relative performance. So just try to do the best you can.
Yeah, but honestly, in terms of mixed AOs, there can be sometimes that you actually get confused. And, after the call, maybe if you want to send us an example of, like which case you're talking about, we could maybe, dwell in more as an example. But because I remember that when we were practicing cases, there were, I think, a few that would be of that sort that you would have like maybe 2 AOs in the same question or something like that, but not a lot.
I mean, like I have practiced about 10 in day 3, like Capstone 2 now, and about 3 were like, including the today one was pretty bad ones. Rest of them were attemptable.
Because I remember that in our attempts day 3 also, Ravneet, if you remember that one FR question, so there was this one FR question which was divided into 2 parts. Like there was part A and part B. One was grants and the other was something else. Maybe NPO, I don't remember. But then because I remember that in that question, some people would have taken that as just one AO and attempted it together. But then like it was very categorically separate. So it like one question was from another one standard and the other one was from a completely different standard. So in those cases, it was very clear that it has to be 2 separate AOs and not like one AO and where you give 50-50 time or 50-50 effort to the 2. Like you had to basically attempt both of those separately. So like we can discuss after the call if you want to send us maybe an example. But
Yeah, I can.
yeah.
And normally now
So
that is mentioning this one, so ideally those should be two separate AOs only and won't be one. So don't think that you are spending so much time on one AO, but think this could be these could be two AOs, and you are assessed accordingly. So even if you attempt or are able to attempt only one, so at least you are doing one right.
yeah, that's what I was like, because there were like almost, there were 5 AOs assessed in that, but there were like a lot of, they were lengthy. Basically, the asks are a lot in that. And the marking guide ended up putting you in a place where they just say you need it. I think the marking guide was strict in that case.
Yeah.
I've not seen those strict FGs. Like they are really usually very easier. Like if you attempt a little bit, they give you RC, but that one for
Just
RC you have
consider
to
it as
struggle.
a one-off maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That's what I'm telling. I did 3 of them, but thing is, last 3 of them I did were the same. So I was just thinking, like, are they going towards a change of pattern? Is what I wanted to understand, or how it will come in the exam.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I think
yeah.
should be the same as it has been happening in the last couple of years. So at least
Okay.
now that there are news of even the CFE changing, God knows what, but should be pretty much the same pattern.
Got it. And what about day one? I mean, because we do not have practice opportunities there much, and it's like it is complex also, and it is easy also. What I feel, it's a different format altogether.
Like any specific
Uh,
that?
I mean, how do you strategize? Because we only have 3 cases technically to practice. So how do you strategize around it? Because first one is it's totally a pity. You just attempt something and it's just learning. But how do you like? We have only 2 opportunities to practice. If they don't go well, how do we fall back?
So in Hivan, what I would mention is that the first thing is that if you look at the CPA issued responses to any of the day one cases, you would see that the first 3-4 pages of that response would be filled with a
Situational.
strategic analysis, and financially they would calculate some financial percentages or
Yeah.
some things like that. There's the SWOT analysis that comes in. They write down the mission, vision, key objectives, KSFs, and everything. So I remember that if you look at the responses, there would be like 4 pages filled with this only. And then when you look at the marking guides also, that like they actually give you marks for that, right?
Yeah.
But like what we both incorporated in our attempts was, and with time, that we did not do that. Like what we used to do in that was we just skipped out the financial analysis portion, because that financial analysis takes a lot of time.
Of time. Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. We used to, and what we did in our attempt was we memorized the KSFs, the mission, the vision, and
Corporate values, I guess. Yeah.
corporate. Yeah, I think these 4 things we memorized, like we had them in our head, on our fingers. So as and when we started the case, we just put the heading and then we just wrote down those 4 things. Obviously, you'll take a look in your case on the day of exam and you'll see if there's, because sometimes the mission and vision
changes. Yeah.
So just verify that, start with that, then do your SWOT analysis, right? And even in the SWOT, what we did was that when we were reading the exam, we used to just, if we find a strength, we would like mention S with a pencil there, right? Similarly, for a weakness, we would do a weakness. For opportunity threats, the same thing, right? So that thing, but then what I did was that I left a little space there and I actually dived into the AOs first, because sometimes what happens is that when you are attempting AOs, you then also come across some SWOTs, right?
Yeah, correct.
They mention that, okay, in this industry, it is still blooming. So that's a strength that you have to mention in there also. And I remember that when we were strategizing for the exam, we made sure that we are not repeating any SWOT in the question qualitative, if you get my point.
In the
Got it.
in the AO. So we made sure that we were doing independent, basically separate SWOT analysis and then separate qualitative analysis.
Basically, unique points in the
Unique
AOs.
points. So, so basically now this is a big change that you'll see. If you just skip that financial analysis part from the first portion
You
of
save
your
like
case,
15 minutes there.
you save a lot of time
Yeah.
there. Then for the SWOT, for some SWOTs that you see like directly on, when you read the case, you directly see that, okay, this is a strength.
Yeah.
You can copy that over, but then don't wait and don't keep reading it again and again to just complete that SWOT. Move on, start with your questions, and then as and when you dive into the case a little more, you'll keep thinking of more SWOTs. You'll keep like seeing more SWOTs throughout the exam, and then you just go up and keep filling that out.
Yeah.
So
Got
that
it.
is what happens is that you are already into the questions also.
Yeah.
You start feeling better about the time also, and you also did the first part. And when we skipped the financial analysis, one thing that we focused on was the SWOT, because then the SWOT becomes really important because you
Yeah.
are missing the financial analysis. So you need to have a good SWOT.
Yeah.
Only then you will be able to get that competency or whatever
Got
marking was there.
So does the marking say that we need to tie back our qualitative to the first situational analysis, right? Always.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Like the marking guide?
Yeah,
Sorry?
the marking guide used to like I don't remember if it was the marking guide, but I know that we had to tie it back to the KSFs.
Yeah, sure, the KSF.
Yeah,
So
the KSFs.
what you need to ensure is whenever you are entering any sort of AO, so so that is what Guneet started off the answer with. So when you have the KSF and corporate values, these two specifically in your head, then you always know, okay, this is the AO and these two KSFs will automatically apply. So what we both had in our minds in any of the AOs, just put at least two KSFs or at least two corporate values in the advantage or disadvantage.
Or disadvantage.
Or yeah.
And for that, you will have to, not only KSFs,
Corporate
vision,
values.
mission, or corporate values.
Yeah.
Like any two out of these four should be there in each of your qualitative analysis. Like make sure of this, because and for this you will have to go through the like the KSF time and again. You'll have to keep reading them to make that association. And now these are the little things that take time, that when this is the time that you will save on the financial analysis, but then that time you will allocate here. Because like I remember one of my friends, like we both went into the auditorium together to write the case, and when we came out, this guy is like, oh, it took me so long to complete that first strategic analysis thing that when I moved to the AOs, I only could attempt like two AOs, right? And then he missed the other part of the exam, and then obviously he flunked, he couldn't clear it. So like that's the point. It's so important that you don't sit on that first portion, because you have to move on to four AOs, like which require your quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis, and then there's a hidden AO as well. Then there's an overall recommendation that you cannot afford to miss. Yeah. Because if you miss that overall recommendation, you definitely will not be.
I mean, yeah, the problem with day one is that you miss anything and it straight goes to marginal fail. That's the issue.
That's the issue. What. Yeah. So
that's why she suggested that you have to leave out the financial indicators and you need to have KSF corp values on the top of your head. Even in the question, they may change 1 or 2 points that should be max. So as soon as you enter, you know that in 7 to 8 minutes you are done with the first part and then you move to SWOT. Because if you're spending 20 minutes and you are not even reaching SWOT, then you're losing out. You are losing out time on the other AOs and the overall recommendation. And if there is any integration issue or a hidden issue which we call, so then that would become very difficult. So don't worry much about practicing. Focus more on the strategy
focus more on the strategy,
because that is what we did.
Day one is not so much about the technical or what you're doing. It's actually about the strategy.
And try to understand the Capstone case a little bit more deeply as to what actually is, who are the four stakeholders, what are they saying, what was done at Capstone 1, or basically just have it in your head. You don't need to memorize, just have it in your head.
Yeah, I know it's like a 64 or 65 pager. case?
No, actually, yeah, what I've done is I've made another Word file. While I was reading it, I've noted down all the KSFs or all the mission vision, and I'm just reading. It's like a two-pager Word file now for me. Just I'm
Okay.
reading that every day now.
That's good.
Like,
That's good.
yeah, so that at least that's what I'm trying to do. As I should have those top of mind as far as save my time and I just reconnect them every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sameer, maybe if you would like to, give that out for the larger benefit of the WhatsApp audience. So up to you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's if someone is doing Kings Delta company, so I can share that, no problem.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before
Okay. And one small question. What about this when we do this qualitative in day one, what do you suggest in terms of length? Should it be like 2-3 liner point or should it be as detailed as the solution again?
day one,
What was the
SWOT,
Yeah, I mean, whenever we do a qualitative analysis in any strategic issue, how many points or how long these points have to be
1.5,
usually?
1.5 lines.
1-2 liner?
Oh, it's
Like
the same
1-2 line.
pattern like we do in day two, right?
Try to
Yeah,
try to
it's
focus on the strong responses. How
yeah, but
how
I
they are.
remember that just try that you have like 3 points in like pro and 3 in con.
Got it. Sure.
So 3-3. And in the quantitative analysis also, now that we are actually into day one discussions, and Ravneet and I, we kept talking about doing like a day one
Focused case.
focused
like-
webinar or something, but like as time would have it, we just didn't have the time to sit on the PPT, prepare everything, so we couldn't do it. But then these were the things we wanted to share with the whole group. But another thing was that in the quantitative analysis, sometimes it so happens that the in that question or that case or that AO might seem a little difficult, because sometimes we also used to struggle that, okay, there's so many things that you can actually do with those numbers. So now what should we do in the quant analysis? Because you can't afford to miss even the quant in day one, right? Because normally
Yeah.
they're easy, but there are times when it's a little complex, or it at least like takes you a little time to figure out, now should I do NPV, should I calculate the
Cash flows, yeah, I guess, yeah.
right? So in that case, there's two things that you can always do in any type of question in day one. One is the NPV. Like whatever it is, they will always give you a capital outlay and they will give you expenses. Now that NPV could be year on year basis, or it could be like just like a 1 year basis also. But NPV is something that you can always do. And the second thing is, with the NPV, always do the payback period. So with just these two, your quant is sorted. Like these two are the last resort, that if you don't find any other quant that you can calculate
maybe if
there.
you have less time in the paper.
Yeah, if you have less time.
And you don't know, what to do here.
Yeah.
Just pull up the numbers and calculate these two ratios.
Yeah,
And
just
maybe
do this.
IRR as well.
IRR, if you
have time.
can do that.
Got it,
Like
yeah.
these 2-3 should be your go-to, because there were times that I used to be stuck and I knew that I can do something with the numbers, but I just wasn't able to figure out. So these 2-3 should be your go-to calcs. If you are stuck in the exam and you don't know what to do with the quant, just do this and you should be fine. And then you focus on the qualitative analysis, so that at least one out of
Balances
the
out, yeah.
all is good, so that you are good on that AO then.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
We can take more questions as well, but before that, we can jump on to other people. Akanksha?
No, I don't have any questions. I was just here to listen to everybody else's.
Good.
So
No worries.
I just wanted to reiterate again. I wrote on the chat also, if you can share that Word file with me as well, or the 2-pager thing, so that maybe I'll also go through it.
It's for Sandeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll send it out in the group.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Abhi or
Ghanshyam or
Ghanshyam?
Abhi, if you have any questions.
Ghanshyam, if you have any questions, you are on mute. Yes. All good.
Okay.
That was quick. Sameer, any further questions?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, no problem, Kansham. If you have any questions,
Yeah.
when you start your preparation, you
or
know
whatever. Yeah.
where to reach us.
And any questions, Avi? Again, just asking last time. No, all good.
Yeah, I guess it was only me.
Yeah. We actually received a couple of DMs on this that let's hold the group chat, and we contacted, but no response. Ideally, they should have joined and asked their questions, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, great help to me. Thank you so much.
Nobody's a worry.
Appreciate a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, actually, the thing is, I'm very late in my preparations. I have only done Capstone 2, so I don't have any reference point of what he's saying that he's had some difficult questions or everything like that, sort of. So I really don't have any questions as of such, and I have been finding them pretty easy, except for the fact that yes, the case one, the day one case, I have not been through as much as he has, and that's why I thought maybe I'll take that word file and start my preparations. So yeah, maybe 15 days down the line I might connect with you guys again. But yeah,
No worries at all. Second or another coffee chat may not be possible perhaps in May, but yes, please feel free to reach out on our DMs or in the group, like however you feel convenient.
definitely. Just let me know how you guys are convenient. So I mean, like how it's convenient for you guys. So yeah.
Sure, no worries.
I
Abhi,
think, yeah, we have a
the major
question.
question I have is how I can prepare for the taxation part. So for taxation, Abhi, honestly speaking, we do not know what source you are using as of now. Many people, if you are asking for the source material, yeah. So if you are asking for the source material, many people do refer the CPA study mat, but the issue with that is it's very verbose and quite a big module. I think 500-600 pages is what I recall. So I personally, although had joined past classes, but the taxation material was slightly difficult for me, so I had to gather notes from elsewhere. So for taxation, Abhi, you can maybe connect with us offline as well. So we have done a tax crash course for that, and we designed our own notes and recordings. So if you are interested in that, so let us know. But in terms of source material, honestly, it's hard in the market. I do not recall any tutor who has some reasonable notes which are easy to grasp, because the main problem with taxation is, especially with us as Indian CAs, is that we know the tax back from India and we try to relate here, but how the notes come through from different tutors, that are actually not comprehensible at all, to be honest. And I
Like,
was
because
finding really difficulty with pass as well for that.
yeah, because considering that like tax is not a major competency like assurance and management accounting, like there's only so much that you can study for one competency, but then it's also important, like you can't even skip it.
Yeah.
So the point is that the notes that you are referring to, they should be at least like concise, that they don't take a lot of your time, and majorly about areas that you're focusing on. Like we used to say in India that you should like study smart instead of study hard at this point in time. So yeah, like let us know if you
Need any help or
need any help.
yeah, because many students, what they try to do is they try to read all of tax, understand all of it. But the problem is you have only limited time, and especially if you are working by the side, focusing only on tax is not the best advice.
But I can tell you that the people who joined our course, we did receive a lot of great feedback, because the notes were in question answer form. So you can let us know if you're interested in that.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Then. Right. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much then. And like always, if you have any other questions that you want to discuss, you can anyway reach out to us on our like individual WhatsApps also. Like, don't need to wait for another coffee chat.
No worries. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Bye
and
bye.
thank you so much, guys. And I've also sent out the PDF. Anyone
Okay.
can use it if possible.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you very
Great.
much,
That's
Sameer, for
great,
that.
Sameer.
thanks.
Thank
Okay.
you. Have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.